getting organized and getting people organized, even if it involves your other classes, so I can help you with whatever you need. Okay, so this is lesson 15. Like I said, this is not going to be on the midterm, okay? But we can't have an extra day of review. We don't have enough time. So this right here, the way that you read this, guys, is f of x minus 1. And what that means is go into f of x, and right there, where you see an x, you put in x minus 1. So everybody go 3 times x minus 1 plus 4. And then all you do, see this equal sign going down, guys? Just follow that equal sign down. You just keep simplifying the right-hand side. So you distribute the 3, and you get 3x minus 3 plus 4. Well, that gives you 3x plus 1, and that's your answer. You're not solving for anything. You're seeing what you get when you put an x minus 1 in for x into f of x. That's all you do. Okay? Here's question B. Find g of x plus 2. So look what that means. Go to this g of x. Right here where you see an x, put in x plus 2. So you go x plus 2 in parentheses squared minus 2. Everybody freeze right here. Okay? Some of you guys are messing up on this on the quiz, and it's a big mistake. Right now you have got to make the next step correct. What is it? Write it twice. And even if you don't write it twice, so I'm just going to be honest with you. Write it twice. X plus 2 times x plus 2 minus 1. And then I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't even write it twice. You don't have to write it twice. You can go straight from here to multiplying it in your head, if you can do that. So I know x times x is x squared. I know outside's going to be a 2x. I know inside's going to be a 2x. 2x plus 2x is 4x. And then 2 times 2 is 4 minus 2. So you don't even have to write that line. But in your mind, know it's x plus 2 times x plus 2 and multiply it all out. If that freaks you out, then write it down. You don't have to skip the step, but you can. So it's x to the second plus 4x plus 2. Highlight your answer, and you're done. Okay? All right. Question, this one right here. So that was review, I guess. Okay? This is composition of functions. Okay? This is super important, so I want you to look right here. Okay? Look at this one right here in yellow. Okay? I don't think it's as easy as this guy right here in green. And they mean exactly the same thing. So what I want you to do is I want you to always write it like that. If it's given as f of g of x, this yellow one, I want you to always write it in there, okay? Underneath, I want you to write this down, okay? Underneath those things, I want you to write, these are both the same thing. Yellow, green, they mean the same thing. Here's what I want you to write. Write f, and then in quotes of g, in quotes of x. That's how you read it. You just read it from left to right. So this means f of g of x. Okay? Okay, I'm going to go nice and slowly. This is not hard. Okay? That's not the good way to write it. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite it in the good way, which looks like that. Now look what I'm going to do. If you write it like that, it's so easy because look what you do. Then you take that g of x and you replace it with what g of x is. So this is f of x squared minus 4. So all I did is replace that with g of x with what g of x was. Now this means go into this f of x, and wherever you see an x, replace it with x squared minus 4. So this is just the square root of 5. Now, this is just a little tricky. This is kind of a tough one to start with. But go 5 minus, and then in parentheses, put what you're replacing the x with, which is x squared minus 4. The reason I need to put parentheses around it is because that negative is going to be distributed. So everybody go equals the square root of 5 minus x squared plus 4, which is equal to 5 plus 4 is 9 minus x squared. You could also put negative x squared plus 9. It's exactly the same thing, but that's your answer. Okay? Who says, I got that? Let me see, I'm with you. Okay, good. Question B. First thing is, I look at that and I'm like, I don't like it written like that. So I'm going to write it as g of f of x. Then see this f of x? I'm not going to write it anymore, and I'm going to replace it with what f of x is, which is 5 minus x. Yes?
I was just wondering, on A, do you need to keep solving after the square root, or do you just leave it like that?
Okay, so everybody freeze for just a sec. Let me finish B and then I'll go back. Okay, so right here I'm finding g of the square root of 5 minus x. So now you're going to take the 5 minus x and you're going to put it in that g of x right here where I see an x. So go parenthesis, square root of 5 minus x, close your parenthesis, squared minus 4. So the square root squared undoes each other. So you have 5 minus x minus 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So your answer is 1 minus x, or negative x plus 1, and you're done. Okay? Who says gotcha? I'm totally good. Okay, now I want to go back to question A. Okay, so everybody look at this right here. You don't have to write any of this down if you don't want to. So she's looking at that thinking she can simplify. Compare that to this. The square root of 9x squared simplifies. The square root of 9 is a 3. The square root of x squared is an x. It simplifies. This does not simplify. That is not a 9. That is not an x squared. Those things are stuck together. So you can't simplify the 9 and then simplify the x squared because they have to go everywhere together. So when you see that green highlighted thing, you need to see the square root of z in your brain, because that 9 minus x squared is one thing. Do I have 2 of them that I could pull out? No. So there is nothing I can do to that. It does not simplify. That's a big thing that you need to understand. Who says gotcha? Raise your hand. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Okay, here's question C. So question C, sorry, I need to grab one. Tell me what page we're on, would you please? Which one? 70, thanks. Once I scroll, I can't see the equations anymore. Okay, f of g of 3. This one's different. Everybody look right here. Do you see how this has an x and this guy has an x? Well, now these guys right here have numbers, okay? So that's a number. So what I want you to do is I want you to draw an arrow to that, okay? And I want you to write a note to yourself. And I want you to say, if there is no variable in what I just highlighted, I want you to go from right to left. Okay? Let's write it the good way. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's write this as f of g of 3. Much easier to understand, in my opinion, written like that. You're going to travel from the right to the left. So the first thing that you see on the inside, on the right, is a g of 3. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to find g of 3. So go into that g of x, and wherever you see x, put in a 3. So that would be 3 squared minus 4. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 4 is a 5. So g of 3 is 5. Okay? Now everybody look at what I've got. See that f of g of 3? If I wanted to, and I think you should on your paper, I could literally cross that out, because now I know that g of 3 is, everybody tell me, it's a 5. So what do I do now? Well, it's right there on the paper. Now you find f of 5. So you go into that f of x and put a 5 in for x. So that would be the square root of 5 minus 5. 5 minus 5 is a 0. The square root of 0 is a 0, and I'm done. Okay, yes, honey?
Would it be possible to take your answer from number 1?
Yeah, I'm just going to say to you yes, but I'm not going to elaborate because I don't want to confuse anyone. So your answer is yes. Okay? Okay, let's do question D. First thing I'm going to do, since I've just got a number, I'm going to go from right to left. So I'm going to find f of negative 2. I'm going to go into the f of x and put in a negative 2. So it's the square root of 5 minus a negative 2. Guys, what's minus a negative 2? Plus 2. So I have the square root of 7. So this is the square root of 7. Do you really have to cross that out and put in a square root of 7? No, I'm trying to show you. So now I find the g of the square root of 7. Go into the g of x. Everybody put the square root of 7 in parentheses and square it minus 4. Square root of 7 squared is 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. That's my answer, and I'm done. Who says gotcha? I feel good. Okay, good. Question 2. Do I go from right to left, or do I go from left to right? Somebody tell me. You go right to left if this is a number. It's not a number, so I'm just going to go from left to right, just normal. Okay? So everybody write this as f of g of x. Okay? Then replace that g of x with what g of x is. So that is f of the square root of x. Now go into the f of x, and where you see an x, replace it with the square root of x. So that's going to be the square root of x squared. What is the square root of x squared, everybody? X. Yep, that's what that one's equal to. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to find g of f of x. Replace that f of x with what f of x is, which is x squared. Now I go into that g of x, wherever I see an x, replace it with x squared. So that would be the square root of x squared, which is what, everybody? Also an x. Good. Okay, I want to make a summary. What I want you to do is to just kick back. I want to see if you can understand this. This right here, everybody watch this. This means take your g of x, plug it into f of x, wherever you see an x. Who says I understand that? Let me see. Okay, how about this one? This means take your f of x, plug it into the g of x, wherever you see an x. Do you understand that? Yeah? Who says, yeah, I get that? Let me see. Do me a big raise. Let's see. Don't lie, though. Okay? All right. Here's question 3. More equations and same idea. Okay? Look what I want you to do. Over here, draw a line. On one side, let's write it the good way. F of g of x. Over here, g of f of x. This is going to be a little ugly. Actually, I think it's going to be a lot ugly because we've got fractions. So just hang on and stay really calm. I'll go slowly. Okay? See this g of x? Replace it with g of x is. So this is f of 1 over x. Okay? This is going to be tough. Now I'm going to go into f of x. And in those two places where I see an x, I'm going to replace it with 1 over x. So everybody go 1 over x plus 2 over 1 over x minus 1. Who says gotcha? Okay, hang on. On the top, I need to simplify this. On the top, so all I'm doing is looking at this. I cannot add those things together unless I have a what, everybody? What do you have to have in order to add fractions? common denominator. What's my common denominator going to be? An x. So everybody put an x right there. This guy right here already had the x, so he's good to go. I'm just going to put a 1 there. This guy right here doesn't have the x, so I have to go 2 times x is 2x, like that. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to do it on the bottom. So once again, I have to get a common denominator that's going to be an x. This guy already has the x, put a 1. This guy is missing the x, so I have to multiply him by x, and I get minus x. Who says I'm with you? Raise your hand, let me see. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line, just kind of showing that I'm going now up to the top. See this bar right here, guys? This is your main division bar, because it's the one that you started with, okay? So now I'm going to write this as 1 plus 2x over x. That main division bar, I'm going to write it as a division symbol, and then it's going to be 1 minus x over x. So I just wrote the same thing, except the division bar is now a division symbol. Do you remember how to multiply fractions? Do you remember what you're supposed to do? Change it to a multiplication, and what do? Flip it. Yeah, which one do you flip? The first one or the second one? The second one. So you have 1 plus 2x over x multiplied by x over 1 minus x. Now, when I multiply fractions, I multiply the tops together and the bottoms together. But before I do that, there's something else I can do. Can anybody see what I can do? This x is free. He's not added or subtracted to anything. This x is free. It's not added or subtracted to anything. So those x are going to cancel. So my answer is I have a 1 plus 2x on the bottom and a 1 minus x, or pardon me, a 1 plus 2x on the top and a 1 minus x on the bottom. Now I have a question for you. This is a big important question. Can the x on the top cancel with the x on the bottom? No, why not? It's rude. Did we talk about being rude? Raise your hand if we talked about being rude. Yes, it's rude. Who's it rude to? It's rude to the one on the top and it's rude to the one on the bottom. Because you have 4 people in this picture. Here's a person, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person. If this guy goes to the movie and this guy, and they don't even include them, that's rude, so you can't do it. Okay? Okay, let's do the other way. So now I'm going to do g of f of x. This guy's much easier, just so you know. See this f of x? Replace it with what f of x is. So everybody go g of x plus 2 over x minus 1. Now I'm going to go into that g of x, and wherever I see an x, I'm going to put in that. So it's going to go 1. See the fraction bar, guys, right here that's on the g of x? That's my main fraction bar. Make it long. And then on the bottom goes your x, which is now x plus 2 over x minus 1. Look forward for a second. Can you see how I made this guy really, really long? I did that because I need to know which one to write as a division symbol, and that's my main fraction bar, which is that guy. Okay, so everybody equals, and then go 1 divided by x plus 2 over x minus 1. Put a 1 underneath the 1 so that it's a fraction. Let's flip the second guy upside down and make it a multiplication. So it looks like that. And then remember, when you multiply the tops together and the bottoms together. Nothing will cancel. So I have x minus 1 over x plus 2. Nothing cancels. I cannot cancel those x's. It would be rude to the 1 and the 2. Okay? Who says this? That was tough, but I followed you. Raise your hand. Let me see. Raise your hand if it was tough, but you followed. Okay, good. Let's do another one. It's going to be another fraction problem. Okay? Trying to see how much more we have. Okay. Question 4. Everybody write f of g of x. Let's do that guy first. Take that g of x and replace it with what g of x is. So everybody go f of x over 2 plus 3. Then go into this f of x, which is here, and right there where you see an x, replace it with x over 2 plus 3. So everybody go 2 parenthesis x over 2 plus 3 minus 6. Now distribute the 2. Can anybody tell me what 2 multiplied by x over 2 is? Can you tell me? It is an x, yes. The 2's cancel and you just get an x. It's 2x over 2, which is just an x. And then 2 times 3 is 6 minus 6. The 6's cancel, your answer's an x, and you're done. Bless you. Okay, let's do the next one. Draw a line and go g of f of x. Take this f of x and replace it with what f of x is, which is 2x minus 6. Now I'm going to go into this g of x, right here where I see an x, I'm going to replace it with 2x plus 6. So I have, or 2x minus 6. So I have 2x minus 6 over 2 plus 3. This is big. Look at this fraction right here. Can I do anything to that fraction? Can I reduce? I can. How many people are in that picture? Tell me. What I just highlighted? 3. Does 2 go into all of those people, into all of those terms? Yeah, so you can reduce. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 2 one time. Does the 1 on the bottom change anything? No. So we don't need that. And then don't forget you still got that plus 3 out there. And then a minus 3 and a plus 3 gives you a 0. That cancels out. So your final answer is x. So those were both equal to x. Okay? Okay, here's example 5. This is having a hard time loading for some reason. Okay, here's question 5. This is not bad. Everybody in the room tell me, do I go from, everybody write this down, do I go L to R or R to L? Left to right or right to left? Everybody tell me. It's going to be right to left because it's a number. Okay, so look what you're going to do. This is not bad. Find G of 10. Draw an arrow right there and tell yourself that's an x value. So they're saying if x is 10, what's g of x? Well, here's your g of x right here. And if x is 10, what do you get? A 3. So now I know that g of 10 is 3. So what do I do now? Now I find f of 3. That's still an x value. So they're saying on this f of x table, if x is 3, what's y? Your answer's 11. You only have one answer, and that answer is 11. Okay, let's do the next one. Right to left, f of 9. The 9 is an x value. Go to the f of x table, which is the one on the left. Go to an x value of 9. Everybody tell me, everybody in the room, what's that equal to? 15. So now I know f of 9 is 15. So now I'm going to find g of 15. Go to the other table, which is g of x. Go to an x value of 15. What's my answer, everybody? 122. Yeah. That's it. If x is 15, y is 122. Let's do the next one. Find g of 12. Go to the g of x table. The 12 is an x. What's your y? A 6. Now you find f of 6. Go to the f of x table. If x is a 6, what's y? 18. That's your only answer. Okay? Okay, here's example 6. Good, these are loading a little bit. I don't know what the deal is. Can I look at your workbook for a second? Okay. So we've got 3 more. Okay, example 6. Here's your function. It converts Fahrenheit into Celsius, and then you've got a Kelvin function that converts Celsius into kelvins, okay? This is important, so I want everybody to watch. This example is not super easy. Okay, look right here. C of F. This is what this means, guys. And we've done this together. I know when we've done our group work, we talked about this. If this right here is an F, then your variable over here is going to be an F. Would it ever be possible for them to say C of X, and then over here they have an F? Yes or no? No. Doesn't make sense, right? So this is what this is saying. I really need you to understand what this is saying. They're saying this is what Celsius is, and on the right you have an F. Well, I can see that I have an F. So I'm going to simplify that a little bit, and I'm going to say C equals 5/9 F minus 32. Okay, everybody write that down. Same thing on the other equation. This is K of C, and the only variable you have over there is a C. Well, I can see that. So I have K equals C plus 273. Okay, and everybody listen to this. This equation right here converts Fahrenheit to Celsius. So you put in a Fahrenheit, you put in a number, and what you get is a Celsius. This converts Celsius to Fahrenheit, or to kelvins. You put in a Celsius, and you get a Kelvin. So what goes in goes on the right, what comes out is on the left. What goes in is on the right, what comes out is on the left. So read the question. Find Kelvin as a function of Fahrenheit. So this is what they want. Kelvins in terms of Fahrenheit. That's what they want. Okay, well look what I've got, you guys. Watch. This is just a substitution problem. That's all it is. You know how we did the solving the systems and we did substitution elimination? That's all it is. Look right here. Look at this equation. And this is a C. But I know that C is that. So, because it says C is that. So I'm just going to take that guy, I'm going to plug it right there. So I have kelvins is Celsius, which is 5/9 times F minus 32, plus 273. Now I've got kelvins as a function of Fahrenheit. I know because over here is my F. Okay, who says I got that? Let me see up high. Okay, good. Question B, determine 80 degrees Fahrenheit in Kelvin. All you're going to do is put an 80 right there. So everybody just go K of 80 is equal to 5/9 times 80 minus 32 plus 273. Grab your calculator, okay? You need to be in the habit of every single time you come to class before the bell rings, you take out that calculator. It's sitting right on your desk, okay? We're going to use it more and more and more. Okay, punch this in. 5 divide 9, parenthesis, 80 minus 32, close it off, plus 273, hit enter, and you get, we're going to round this to the nearest whole, so the answer is 300 Kelvin. What is Kelvin? It's just another way to measure temperature. That's all it is. Okay? Okay, question 7. You're looking for a dress for homecoming. You found the perfect dress and it's 30% off. You also have a coupon for 15% off of the dress. F of x is 0.7 times x, represents the cost you will pay for the dress after the 30% discount. Everybody listen. You have a $100 dress. It is 30% off. What percent of the dress are you going to pay? If it's 30% off, what percent of the cost are you going to pay? 70% of the cost. That's why it says 0.7. Okay? G of x is x minus 15. That's the cost after the $15 discount. Okay? Find f of g of x and find g of f of x. And I want you to try to figure out question C, what's the difference? Question D, which one's cheaper? okay? I want you to turn in your groups right now. You're gonna do all 4 of those on your own, okay? Everybody do that for me, okay? I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes, okay? I'm gonna see if you guys can come up with it. I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. I'll just keep reminding you. Okay, go ahead. I can hear lots of talking. Go ahead. Go ahead, you guys. Okay, if you're writing, I want you to stop. You have to discuss it first, okay? So talk about it, come up with your agreement, and then write. Go ahead. Go. Talk. Remember, this is part of your grading, this whole activity thing, okay? Is there anyone in here who is taking the midterm early? No? Okay. You guys should be discussing it, okay? Not just working independently. Hey guys, when you have to explain the difference, I don't want you to talk about f of x and g of x. I want you to talk about the dress and the coupons and the 30% off. So don't talk about equations, I want you to talk about a dress, okay?
Is what 30% off.
You did, okay. Because are you taking it early? How did you get these? You were in here when I passed out? Oh. You weren't that late, Jackson was.
Yeah, it's 30%, right? So maybe we put 70%.
Yeah, I'll grab it, I'll grab it.
There's just different ways to figure out.
30% off.
Okay, with the $15 because we did the 30% off first and then subtract the 15. This one was subtract the 15 then.
Yeah, so they just did the whole thing. Yeah, you just get that like
Okay.
I only got
Raise your hand if your group needs more time, if you need more time. Okay, we're gonna do 2 more minutes. I heard somebody saying some really good stuff, some correct stuff. I'm gonna go 2 more minutes, that's all you got.
Wait, so in this one
This one you applied the 30% off first and then
Paige, you're gonna take me out with that leg, girl. I'm gonna be flat on the ground, that would be embarrassing.
Oh, right.
Okay. I don't know, nobody's talking about that. What do you think? So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get the same number? Talk about that. Talk to each other.
why don't you just get, why don't you just get the also?
Does this one you apply the 15% off and then I think this one should give us the same answer. We did the 30% off first and then.
Wait, that's not a real thing.
So this represents the
These are you get what?
No idea.
But why? So one thing I want you guys to talk about,
So
why is that number different than that number? Where did that come
I feel like it's the discount percentage.
I just want to make sure you know
It could be the.
why that is that number and that is that number. Like, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
We probably could use it for days with tax.
Say that again, I want to hear you.
Well, I don't know where it's on that.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. What's the other?
Okay, so 55 is the one where you go 30% off first and then.
You're right, you're right, you're saying it right.
I
You're saying it right. So which one, you're exactly right. So which one's a better deal?
So,
And what was the first one?
so 70%, 30% off only 70.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
I don't remember how.
Good.
Think of it.
Hey guys, on part D, when you figure out which one's a better deal, I want you to actually put a number in there. So make up a cost of the dress and see what the difference between the two scenarios would be. Okay?
No, I think you're actually right. Like, I had like this reason why it was, but now I don't remember. Wait, so you said 30% off was 13%? Oh, wait, okay. Maybe I can figure this out. So 30% off is 75. And then you subtract 15, which is only 25.
Why? I want to know why.
But look, so 100 minus
Why are you getting more money?
No, do 55. No, 100 is 85. What's
Oh, this is amazing.
30% of 89?
That is so good.
30% of 85.
Okay, guys, my alarm's not going off. I feel like we should probably stop. I want you to at least be able to see your quizzes. Oh, I never started my timer. Okay, so there's like maybe 3 groups that I feel like have a very, very good idea of what's going on here. So this group right here totally gets it. So will one of you guys explain the difference? One of you brave souls. Come on, Paige. Do it. Okay, everybody listen to Paige.
I wasn't really thinking in like this math term. I was thinking of like buying a dress.
So she's thinking about clothes, which girls do all the time, right? So listen up.
So it would be better to take 30% off first and then subtract the 15 because then it equals like this $55 dress or something like that. 55. But then if you took the $15 off first and then took 30% off of that, it's like 60.
So here's the difference. Everybody listen. Okay, good, Paige. Everybody look right here. You have a $100 dress. You save 30% on the whole dress. $70 is what you'll pay. Then you have a $15 off coupon, and then 70 minus 15 would be 55, right? Look at the other way. You have a $100 dress. You've used the coupon first, minus 15. So that's 85. Then you pay 70% of the 85, which I think is like $59.50 or something like that, right? Something like that. So if you take the 30% off first, you save more money. The other way, if you do the coupon, you're not saving as much money. If you do the 15 off and then 30. Who says I understand the difference? Let me see. Okay, you guys did really great on this. So I shop at Kohl's. I really like Kohl's. And Kohl's does that. They'll like have a % off and they also give you a dollar amount occasionally. So this is really pretty applicable. So everybody look at your A and I want to make sure that you got this right, okay? So everybody right here on this g of x, let's replace it with g of x is, which is x minus 15. Go into the f of x, and wherever you see an x, put in x minus 15. And then hopefully you distributed that, so it's 0.7 x, and then 0.7 times negative 15 is negative 10.5. So you saved 70% on the cost, but here's the bummer, guys. Look what happened. Your $15 coupon just went down to $10.50. Okay? Okay, let's do the other one. So the other one, take your f of x and replace it with what f of x is. So this is g of 0.7x. Go into your g of x and put in a 0.7x. So it's 0.7x minus 15. You can tell this one's going to be a better deal because you're paying 70% and then you save a whole 15, and this guy only saves at $10.50. Okay? Who says I get that? Raise your hand. Let me see. Okay, good. Question C. What's the difference? Okay, so we're going to say on f of g of x, okay, what they do is they take off, okay, f of g of x, they take $15 off and then save 30% of that number. the reduced amount. Whereas on G of f of x, you go the other way. So you're going to save 30% and then use the $15 coupon. So you get to use the whole coupon on the G of f of x. Okay? Which one would be a better deal? Everybody go f of G of 100. And then go G of f of 100. That's what I was saying. Stick a number in. So f of G of x, guys, is right here. Put in a 100. So that would be 0.7 times 100 minus 10.5. Let's see what that is. That's going to be $59.50. This one right here is going to be 0.7 times 100 minus 15. And that's going to be 55. The label is going to be $1. Okay, and that's it. Which one's better? Explain it. I think my explanation would be I will save more money. Everybody write this down. More money if the store, guys, takes off 30% and then uses the $15 coupon. Because you save 70% of the entire dress, not 70% of the reduced amount, okay, or 30%. Okay, example 8, and then we're done. The notation f of x represents the area in feet squared of a box depending on the length of the side of the box. Interpret the meaning of f of 3. Okay, look right here. This was on midterms and or finals in the past. I don't know if it's going to be there again, but make sure you understand it. So f of x is the area. Okay, so everybody put y is the area and x is the length of the side of the box in feet. Then draw an arrow to the 3. Everybody in the room tell me, is that 3 an x or is it a y? It's an x, okay? So I'm going to say if a box has a side length of 3, comma, f of 3 is the area. So all you have to say is 3 is the side length, f of 3 is the area. It's kind of awkward because they don't give us a number. It would make, to me, I think it would make more sense if it looked like that. So I would say a box that has a side length of 3 has an area of 9. That would make sense, but they don't give you the number. So you just say f of 3 represents the area of a box that has side length of 3. Okay? Who says gotcha? Let's see. Okay, great. Okay, stay